Hi, welcome to the Transition Ministry. This ministry is for the gay, lesbian, bisexual, and transgender community. This ministry is going to be a web-based ministry to help support and empower people with an alternative lifestyle to reach their full potential. Please donate if you can, directly or indirectly. We need both kinds of support. I need support to establish a web page. If you're a web page designer, draw a web page up so I can post it on the web. And if you can't help me create a web page, support it with monetary contributions. Please check the box on YouTube where it says donations if I can get established, or go to MySpace under the name HEVEANLY Heavenly Body, and donate there, because I need your support so we can get the truth out and empower other people to support and empower. Now, to begin our transition in the gay, lesbian, bisexual, and transgender community, we're going to start from the beginning and unreveal some of the misconceptions that we are taught. We're going to start with Genesis 1:1, which states, "In the beginning, God prepared, formed, fashioned, and create the heavens and the earth." Now, here we are talked about that God, it was in the beginning. He is the creator of everything. There's no misconception here. And we are taught that God is an early person, because he says in verse 5 and 6 more times something like this: "And God called the light day, and the darkness he called night, and there was evening, and there was morning." That was the first day. Then we keep on going down where it says, "And this was evening, and there was morning, and it was the third day, fourth day, fifth day, sixth day." Now this emphasizes it's not a chronological event or a time period. Most people's misconception of time is a 24-hour period. But however, the earth is several thousand years old, and people think a day is 1,000 years. Well, both these concepts are false, because if you go for a 24-hour day, it doesn't match the geology or history of the earth. If you go through 1,000 days, it doesn't support the claim that he watered the earth one day and 1,000 years he did something else. That's totally impossible. For our simple purposes, we're going to cut the misconception and get to the fact that a day is a measurement of time, of an event. What is an event? It's anything we say it is that has a beginning and an end. Thus, God created something and he ended something. That is a day or a period. That's how we're going to define day. Also, if we go down to verse 27, "And so God created men in his own image, the image and likeness of God. He created them, male and female. He created them." Thus, we also conclude that when God created men and women, he created them equal. Now, they were in paradise at the time, and so they were immortal. They can never die. They can do anything they wanted to, but they will not die. So division or gender roles were equal. Men and women could hunt, fish, or whatever, and there was no reproduction. However, in chapter 2, we read in the 18th verse, and it says, "Now the Lord God said, it is not good, sufficient, satisfactory that men should be alone." Okay, we're talking about men should be alone. But what happened to women? One of the concepts that develops in the theory is that women were jealous. God didn't create jealousy or sin, but he allowed it to exist. And women decided to supersede man's authority and be a dominant place in our society. However, Adam opposed this, and the person that was supposed to be Adam's helpmate disappeared. And as I said before, when somebody transgressed or fallen away from God, they are not mentioned no more. And since they were not meant to find in the beginning, Thus, we have no concept of what the person's name was. Was it Eve, or should she come back? So, however, but 23, we got the concept that says, Adam said, this creature is now bone of my bone, flesh of my flesh. She shall be called woman, because she was taken out of me. Now, if we just go back up, the few things back to 18, it says, now the Lord God said, it is not good, sufficient satisfaction man should be alone. I will make a helpmate. Okay, if Genesis 1:1, if God made man and woman, what happened to the woman? So this is how we conclude that Adam and Eve was not the first, but the second. I'm not going into details because I wasn't there. I cannot do it, and most Christian religions try to cover up this fact, but you can see that there is an open interpretation for men and women of gender roles being brought out in the creation process. In Genesis 3, we further see the division of labor when Adam and Eve took the fruit. Now, the fruit in the chapter 3 was not an apple. We conclude that it was an apple for the simple reason if you translate the Genesis from the original language into Latin, the word fruit means evil, and the apple means evil. So they just replaced the apple, which is evil, for fruit, and that's why we got the word apple, because apple means evil. Eve ate the evil. Then she gave it to Adam. Later, we learned that punished them because they disobeyed, and they didn't want, and God didn't want them to succeed. So He set out a punishment, and there's two sets of punishment that was offered here. And in the first one in 3:16 we read, to the woman he said, I will greatly multiply your grief and suffering in pregnancy and the pain of childbearing. Then later it says, yet your desire and craving will be that for your husband. Now, Eve was made lower because she sinned, and they have to leave the Garden of Eden. And once you leave the Garden of Eden, they lost their immortality. And since Adam and Eve were alone, if Eve went out and hunt and fish and do all the things that were men supposed to do, and get injured and die, that would end the human race. So she was made lower, so that man would protect her, and she would be punishment for desiring to be like man, but she would never do it. Adam was punished also for his compliance, accepting me. He was no innocent here too. And his punishment was that in the sweat of your face shall you eat bread until you return to ground, for out of it you were taken. It also says in 17, I command you, saying, you shall not eat of it. The ground is under a curse because of you. And sorrow and toil shall you eat of the fruit of all your days. That means he had to be punished. This is a gender role that first establishing between male and female. And this is why we have a struggle. That struggle is no longer in effect right now because the earth is very populated, and we do not have to protect women to preserve the history. Now, so therefore we don't have to protect women from being extinction, that men and women's roles, or gender roles, are equal. And that's the point. We're going to see this theme pointed out that says God made men and women equal. It is men who promoted that men and women should not be equal and dominate one priority or one sex over the other. I hope you support this ministry, because I want to get a dialogue going, and I want to get money to support this ministry, directly or indirectly, and I want to help other people in their transitions. So please support this ministry, and if you have any topics, just give back to me in a commentary of YouTube, or go to MySpace under the name of HEVANY Heveanlybody, and leave me a comment on what you think.